Hey everybody, it's Kelly Cooper and welcome to another live Q&A video. Today's question I'll be answering, a lot of people were asking me about this one. How can I protect my energy from other people? And I know this is really challenging, but understand that one of the reasons it's so challenging is because you're just not used to doing it. Once you start being more conscious about this, it's really not as hard as it seems. Again, for most of us, before we started thinking about personal growth, the law of attraction in particular, we weren't paying any attention to what was happening inside. We're just reacting to everything around us, being run by our mind and its fucked up thinking and all its weird stuff that keeps us stuck in all these crappy thought patterns and in habits and all this stuff, right? So it does get easier, I promise you. The first thing you have to understand is, and it's a huge pain in the ass, and it's really important for conscious creation. If your energy creates your reality, you have to take full responsibility for your energy. Again, huge pain in the ass. There's no workaround for this. No tool or technique or anything is going to help you somehow not do this and then still see significant change in your life. It just can't happen. So you got to take full responsibility. Again, huge pain in the ass, I know. So you have to understand that however you're responding to other people, it has nothing to do with them. They're just triggering something already within you. And again, most of us, our responses, our emotions, it's just we have all this stuff locked and loaded and it gets triggered and we're just reacting without even thinking about it, right? So we become more conscious of it. And the first step to becoming more conscious of this is taking ownership and understanding they're not making me feel this way. I'm reacting in this way. There's something within me that's making me react this way. Whatever that is, it won't take that. It's not that hard to figure out if you're willing to think about it for a second and reject your mind's thinking of, well, they said this, they did this, it made me feel this way, so therefore it's their fault. Again, being a conscious creator is really, really hard when you don't take full responsibility for your energy, especially as it relates to how other people affect it. So you got to own your shit. And is this to say that other people, they're not being mean, annoying, unreasonable, judgmental, a huge pain in the ass? No, of course not. They probably are. You're dealing with fellow flawed human beings. But again, that doesn't change the fact that our reaction is still all about us. As a human, are you going to be perfect at this all the time? Probably not. I know I'm definitely not. I blame my husband for shit all the time, even though I know it's not his fault. It just happens. But you shake it off more quickly and you get back to center more quickly, even when you have your moments. It doesn't last as long sometimes. So you got to take ownership of it. Why are you reacting this way to people? What is it about them that's bothering you? When they act in certain ways or they said this thing, why did I respond this way? You don't have to analyze every single reaction you have to your fellow human, but if this is a matter of where you find it very hard to be around certain people in particular, for example, or certain people, just something about you really rubs them, they rub you the wrong way, that's the kind of stuff you have to think about. When you have strong emotional reactions, you have to think about it. Again, don't feel like you have to analyze every interaction you have with another human being. But if you find that other people affecting your energy is a big problem for you, and for a lot of people it is, understandably, you have to be willing to examine it. If you're not willing to examine it and you're just going to keep blaming other people or keep hoping that they just somehow change so they act in a way that doesn't bother you as much, good luck with that. We cannot control anything outside of us, especially other people's behavior and actions and personalities and all of that. Like, good luck, right? It's just not going to happen. So you have to take ownership of it and see what's going on. Again, the only reason this is so hard is because we're not used to doing it. When your energy is not very stable in that higher vibration, what tends to happen is if you're interacting with people in the lower energy, if you want to say, you're more likely to get sucked down to their level. That just happens, again, because it's habitual. We're used to that sort of reaction. So as your energy becomes more stable, other people, they're not going to bother you as much. You're not going to get knocked out of your higher energy so easily. And again, if you're willing to see what's being triggered when other people bother you so much, and you work on with what's in yourself, these buttons won't be there to be pushed anymore because you're different now. You're changing. So for example, if you have a hard time staying positive about the law of attraction because you're surrounded with a bunch of skeptics, you'll start to realize, oh, the only reason this is bothering me is because they're pushing the button within me that's skeptical and doesn't believe. I need to strengthen my faith in this teaching, and then when they say this stuff, it's not going to bother me as much. That's just an example. So if you start working within yourself, again, it's not going to bother you. Your energy becomes more stable. And as your energy becomes more stable, external forces don't affect it as much. All these external assaults on your energy, there's like a shield gets put up that's stronger, and it doesn't affect you. Another thing to think about with people is, for a lot of you, I imagine a big part of this journey, as far as it relates to our interactions with other people, you're probably going to have to set some boundaries. Setting boundaries is really uncomfortable, or else they'd already be in place, right? Where are some relationships in your life, some interactions in your life that are desperately in need of some boundaries? Maybe it's your mother who's always giving unsolicited advice about how to raise your kids, or she doesn't like your husband and she's always talking shit about him, and it really annoys you, and you're sick of listening to it. You need to tell her, you need to kind of shut the fuck up. I'm not having these conversations anymore. You have a neighbor that's always asking you for things, always asking you for favors and taking advantage of you. They're actually not taking advantage of you, right? You're just saying no, not saying no, right? Because it feels uncomfortable. You don't want to think people don't think you're not nice, God forbid, right? All of that. You might have to start saying no when you are been saying yes and not wanting to say yes. You have a sibling, maybe they have a lot of drama in their life and they're always complaining to you about the same things over and over and over again, and eating up hours of your time at a stretch with your bullshit, with their bullshit, and you're like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. So you got to think about boundaries. Boundaries only work when they're consistently applied. It might take you work. It may take some time to make them consistent. Hi, Tanya. Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Keep at it. Keep working at it. It might need some baby steps with the boundaries and stuff, because our interactions with other people, it can be really uncomfortable to protect our energy in that way, because once you start setting boundaries, people are not going to be getting things from you that they're very used to getting. People are not going to be able to just act as they please with you, and they're not going to like that. No one ever likes not getting what they want. So setting boundaries, will it cause some challenges for you? Yeah, probably, but you have to take responsibility again for your energy, and you have to be willing to do uncomfortable things. And when it comes to other people in your life, truly protecting your energy, truly making positive change in your life, it's almost a certainty that that's going to involve making changes with some of the relationships in your life. Again, setting boundaries, maybe not talking to people as much, or not talking to people at all anymore. None of these are easy choices, but if those sorts of things you see on the horizon for you, again, you might not be able to just do it right away, but it's important that with the people in your life, if you're uncomfortable making certain changes with them because you're afraid of conflict, you don't want people not to like you, social convention, social courtesy, whatever the reason your mind is telling you, no, you really can't do this thing you want to do, that's okay. But you must take ownership that you're doing stuff you don't want to do. You're not putting boundaries in place that need to be put in place. And what will happen is, even though you're not quite making these changes yet, your mentality around it will change. Because right now you feel like a victim, you feel like you're being taken advantage of, you're resentful, you're bitter, and all this stuff, because you feel like all of these things are being foisted upon you and you're doing stuff you don't want to do, and it's not fair, right? But if you flip it a little bit and you're like, okay, I take ownership that I could be doing something about these situations with these people, but I'm too uncomfortable right now. I own I'm doing things I don't want to do. I know I don't have to be doing them, but again, for whatever reason, I'm too uncomfortable to make this change. You can do whatever you want. It's fine. But as long as you take ownership of it, you'll suffer a lot less. And at the very least, start planning some sort of exit strategies. Start planning for a way to deal with these situations at some point, at least eventually. Because now that you're aware of all of this stuff, if you keep operating in the same ways you operate, you're going to feel worse than you did before. Because now you're going to have all this tension from all this awareness of all these things with other people, all these problems, but now you know you're not doing anything about it when you should be. Again, it's actually going to kind of feel worse than when you didn't have any of this awareness and you're just operating on autopilot and your mind is just running the show completely, and you have no awareness of inside, you have no awareness of this new knowledge and these new perspectives. So once you start learning all of this stuff, you have to be willing to start applying it into your life.